I'm Dale Jarrett. He's Chase Elliott, and this is the Sunoco Rookie Report. Let's get to know you a little bit away from the racetrack. I'm going to give you a word. You just say the first thing that kind of comes to your mind. And I'm sure since you're only 18, that you'll keep it pretty clean, right?
I'll try.
Okay, all right. Guilty pleasure.
Cereal is really bad for you, and I eat a lot of cereal, so I probably need to lay off the cereal.
Hobby.
I've always enjoyed riding dirt bikes and being on a lake, and anytime I get a chance to do that, I always try to take that opportunity.
Your favorite car?
I drive a truck, so a good-looking lifted truck, I think, is pretty tough to beat.
Okay, enough of that. Let's talk racing.
All right.
Every driver has the things that they do really well. What do you think those things are that you do well?
I think being open-minded, I think, is something that I try not to turn away from and just take advice from anybody who's going to offer it. I think as open-minded as you can be throughout your entire career is something that you can't get away from that. I think that's something that needs to stay.
So let's get to how I look at you and view you as a race driver. The first thing that comes to mind, Chase, you're just good. To watch you win this early in your career at some very difficult racetracks was just so impressive.
The mile-and-a-half tracks, Darlington, Texas, and Chicago were three places that we had speed throughout the whole weekend, and we'd like to carry that over to some other places too. So if we can do that.
Everybody has a few things that they have to work on, and as I looked at this, I'll be honest, it was difficult for me to come up with things. What do you think are the things that you need to work on?
I think there's plenty of things. One thing for me, at least, green flag pit stops is a struggle for me, and I'll be upfront and honest about it. That's something I got to get better at. Some of the shorter tracks, don't think I've been where I need to be, and just step up my game there.
Go back to a race that I was calling at Kentucky. And very late in the race, I was actually talking about you battling Trevor Bayne going down the back straightaway.
This is a time that as a young driver, you want to be aggressive and you want to get as much as you can, but one of your opponents for the championship has had a lot of problems, so you take advantage of that for a good night. Careful, right here. Look out, look out.
This is a point in time. You weren't going to win, so you need to manage this night because it could really get you ahead in the points. And as you went into turn 3, you got really loose, almost crashed, which would have made a bad situation. But that's the one thing that I see is just managing those situations and understanding as you're racing for a championship when it's important to go and maybe when to pull the reins back a little bit.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more. And I look back on that night, and like you said, I don't know how we didn't wreck.
Okay, now it's time for me to give you the grade on this report card. And Chase, I simply say that you're outstanding. As I thought about comparisons of who I would compare you to, obviously the first one that comes to mind is your dad, Bill Elliott. But I'm going to get even a little more modern than that and go with a guy that you've already won more races in the Nationwide Series than he ever did, but he has a few more championships in the Sprint Cup side, and that's Jimmy Johnson. I see so many of the same qualities. So with that being said, I couldn't give you anything but an A on your report card. And if you go on and win this Nationwide Championship, that obviously would be an A+.
I don't think I'm anywhere close to anything like what Jimmy or what he's accomplished, but he's a hero of mine, and for you to compare me to him is really cool. So I definitely appreciate that.
Thanks for joining us, Chase.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
This has been Chase Elliott's Sunoco Rookie Report.